Hello and welcome back to the channel. I'm Katrina Darcell. Today, we're talking about whether the Supreme Court is trying to overturn same-sex marriage and if they actually could. Here's what's happening. Former Kentucky County Clerk Kim Davis, remember she spent time in jail in 2015 for refusing marriage licenses to same-sex couples, is now asking the Supreme Court to overturn Obergefell versus Hodges, the 2015 ruling that legalized same-sex marriage nationwide. Her lawyers argue that Obergefell was wrongly decided and even call it a legal fiction. They say it violated her First Amendment rights because it forced her to act against her religious beliefs. But here's the thing. Legal experts on all sides are calling this a very narrow case. It's really about Kim Davis and what happened back in 2015, not some sweeping move that would instantly undo same-sex marriage nationwide. Lower courts have already rejected her appeals, and this isn't seen as a strong path to overturning marriage equality overall. One of the attorneys from the original Obergefell case, Mary Bonato, said this case is basically trying to, and I'm quoting here, shoehorn an opportunity to relitigate the landmark case. What does that mean? Well, shoehorn is when you force something to fit where it doesn't naturally belong, kind of like cramming your foot into a shoe that's too small. Legally, this means they are using a case about Kim Davis herself, her refusal to issue licenses, and her religious objections as a way to challenge the larger question of marriage equality. Let's be clear, overturning Obergefell would be a huge deal. It's rooted in the 14th Amendment's due process and equal protection clauses, which protect both the fundamental liberty to marry and the right to be treated equally under the law. Pulling it apart could cause chaos. Imagine some states recognizing same-sex marriages while others don't. Plus, public opinion is solid. About 70% of Americans now support same-sex marriage, and the Respect for Marriage Act, passed in 2022, still requires federal recognition of existing marriages, even if Obergefell were struck down. Now, I know some of you, especially if you're not heavily into politics like me, might be wondering, can't the president just overturn it with an executive order? The short answer is no. An executive order is basically the president directing federal agencies on how to enforce laws, but it cannot override the Constitution or a Supreme Court ruling. The only ways Obergefell could be undone are, number one, the Supreme Court overturns it in a future decision, or number two, the Constitution is amended, which is extremely difficult and rare. So no matter who's in the White House, they can't just sign a paper and erase marriage equality. So here's the bottom line. Kim Davis's petition will likely be reviewed this fall, but most analysts say it's an uphill battle. Even if the Supreme Court agrees to hear it, the odds of them actually overturning Obergefell are slim. For now, marriage equality remains both constitutionally and politically strong. All right, friends, that's the update. Now, I want to hear from you. Is this case just a moment, or could it signal a bigger push against marriage equality? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If you found this helpful, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and share this with someone who wants to stay informed. I'll see you next time.